Well, the group Survivor, you can't make this stuff up. They're upset that County Clerk Kim Davis used their song, Eye of the Tiger, that after she was sprung from jail yesterday.
Royalties are going to come in. Nobody cares about Survivor. It's 30 years ago.
Couldn't get through a sentence without Mark going in. Now, if you'd missed it, again, this wasn't clever editing. I would take credit for it if we did. This is really what happened, and this is what the group's angry about. And that guy in the straw hat was not some extra from the Village People who never made the cut. That's husband number 4 for Mr. Davis. But while this all seems like a comedy show, this woman is expected back at work later this week. Now, the whole thing, as you may know or not know, all started when she refused to issue gay marriage licenses, saying it's against her religion. Okay, does the rule of law supersede religious beliefs? And I had a whole fight about this last night. But Mark, my man of the Constitution, before you say something interesting about inbreeding in Kentucky, please don't. I'm going to ask you.
I'll restrain myself.
Listen, there was another story, didn't get a lot of press, but a flight attendant on a plane decided she didn't want to serve alcohol to people because it was against her faith.
Under the Supreme Court case from last term that we talked about, the Abercrombie case, you know, they probably have to make a reasonable accommodation for her. What's lost in this? This woman
Do your job. No one made you be a clerk.
No, somebody. Well, she's a clerk. That's I'm talking about the private person on the plane. This woman's appeal has already been rejected. The stay application has been rejected by the appeals court, by the U.S. Supreme Court. She has no legal leg to stand on. You know, a person who's a county official has a heightened supreme duty to uphold and follow the law.
You took an oath.
Well, of course. I mean, look, this
people.
thing,
No, but here's my problem. I'll get my political soapbox in a second. In this country, we have rules and we have laws. I don't have to agree with them all. I don't even have to like them all.
Listen, she's
but
not
the point
fit
is,
to hold office. Quit the job.
But here's
Nobody's
what happened.
forcing her to violate her conscience.
We all laugh about this. Last night, yesterday in Kentucky, people are cheering her as some modern-day hero who's afraid to stand up for her rights.
Cheering
I had on a guest who's
cheering for.
Whose opinion I respect on a lot of things, saying maybe Kentucky isn't ready for this. And I said, well, maybe Alabama wasn't ready to let Mayo go to school with me a generation ago. Hold on, maybe they wouldn't be ready.
He was ready. He gave up the belt when it violated his conscience to go to war. She can give up her job. She can be impeached, or she can quit. She doesn't have to violate her conscience. Nobody's forcing her to stay in the job.
Look at this.
Of course it's a show. No, but it's better than
But who's standing next to her? You have standing next to her a man who wants to be president. Now, how come he's not going to win?
He muscled Cruz out of the way to get up on the stage. He wouldn't give Cruz his moment. This Cruz was a clerk for Justice Anthony Kennedy. Argued, 9 cases in the U.S. Supreme Court?
Senator from Texas.
Richard,
and he's out here with this?
To your point, it's comedy when you don't live there. When you live there and you have somebody who's telling you that you are the person who they can't provide services to because they have a religious or moral objection, then it's not funny anymore. So if someone tells you who you can marry, you're Episcopalian and the person you're going to marry is Catholic, we don't believe in that.
No, I disagree with you, Mark. Here's where I don't find this funny. You have people in this country who are growing with the sentiment. And just think about it. We have a Roberts Court. This is hardly 9 bleeding liberals sitting on the bench who say, you know what? Wait a minute. You know what?
In contempt for what you did
the Supreme Court is not the highest power. I should be able to listen to whatever my higher power is, which is my God. If people believe that, and elected officials pander to them to suggest that you make your own laws, whatever you want to agree to. Listen, Roe v. Wade, if the Supreme Court decides to outlaw it, I happen to be pro-choice. That doesn't give me the right, if I'm some obstetrician or whatever, or if I'm some abortion practitioner, to decide to continue to do the procedure. That's against the law. Forget about whether I think it's right or wrong. You don't get to do that in this country.
It's a serious tactical mistake by the Republicans. What we learn in law school.
But Mark, I'm trying to tell you, it's not just a political maneuver.
It's a stunt.
I hear this all the time. There is a growing population that's angry about a lot of things. And if they start to think, and local governments aid and abet this irrational and irresponsible thinking, you get to make your own laws for what you follow. It's a dangerous place.
There's always anger. And you're absolutely right. And I think in this day and age, just look at what's going on with politics. The anger is just the...
Yeah, but in this case, it's being channeled in the wrong direction.
It is, but you can be angry, but you don't see this. I believe this is nothing more than a spectacle. I believe that it is partially a political stunt that is combined with her own anger. People are angry about a lot of things. Roe versus Wade has caused more consternation in this country than most any other Supreme Court ruling. And except for some outliers, you have people who voice their anger, they express their anger, but they don't act on their anger. And when they do act on their anger, they should go to jail. And what she got,
she did go to jail.
She went to jail for a few days, and notwithstanding her continued denial,
and she's celebrated as a martyr when she walked out.
Well, that's why he let her out.
Well,
because if you keep her in jail when an underling is now performing the ceremony, you're making her into a martyr and giving her far more credit than she warrants.
She's still a clerk, Mark. Why? She
doesn't deserve to be out of jail, but this is Jim Bunning's son. He's nobody's
She should be removed, right?
She should be removed from office.
She
should be removed from office, and we lose sight of the fact that there's a reason you have separation of church and state.
Yep.
If you don't want that, go to Afghanistan and
give
ask the
this
people who live with the
wildebeest far
Taliban every
more
day.
credit.
Ask the people who live with the Taliban every day
No,
how it feels.
you can't
Because when
compare
you
this to
have
the
someone, well, not yet,
can't
but it didn't
compare it
start
to
out
the
that way. And when you start having people imposing upon you their will based on their religion, and they're in your
There's no
government,
question
generally
she
you
got
have
locked
problems.
up, and the licenses
But
are
she's
being...
still a
She
clerk.
prevented people
she's
from
still
She's an elected
exercising their
official.
rights.
She has to be impeached.
She prevented
right?
people from
Or
exercising
she
their
You're
has
rights.
right.
to quit.
But I just want everybody to think about this.
She's
Let's say
don't give her
Miss
more credit
Davis,
than she deserves.
who, by the way, of her great found respect for the sanctity of marriage on marriage number 4, be that as it may.
5 kids
Let's say,
out of wedlock,
change
3
her name,
cousins as fathers.
change your name,
A real religious zealot.
change your name, change your skin color, and
Lives
let's
in a
say
trailer
because of
park,
Sharia law,
3 teeth
she
in her
didn't want to
mouth.
do this. How about the support then? So while everyone wants to celebrate in certain portions about religious freedom, think about which religion it is that's saying this and where we go. Okay, coming up next, we judge the judges. After the break, we're going to talk about the Georgia judge caught on tape threatening people with jail time because they can't scrape up a few $100 for bail. Then, the Ohio judge who sentenced a guy to wear a chicken costume. You got to hear why.